Black women can't be with Asian men. I hear this statement all the time. Hey guys, what's up? This is Malaysian Quita, and I'm the host of Sin TV. And I decided to add another element to Sin TV, and that is SINtalk. Now, we think of TED Talks and how with TED Talks, it's very informative. It's a subject that it expands your mind. So that's why I want SINtalk to be. SIN stands for Smart Intelligent News. So let's talk about that. And I'm going to pick a topic and a question or a concept and explain it, and then pose the ideas to you, and pose and get you guys to comment and let me know what you think about it. And then if there are topics that you want me to talk about, you can leave your comments below or message me, but you can also email me at sintvnow@gmail.com. I'll have all the links below. But black women can't be with Asian men. Now first, let's take a look at some of the misconceptions. I'll start with black women, or in my case, I consider myself more African than black because of my parents, but that in itself is another SINtalk. So, for black women, a lot of us are very professional, so there is a deficiency of professional black men, and usually from my experience, the black men tend to go for white women anyway, and so that leaves a deficiency of very successful, talented, well-educated, professional black women, and they say that we're too aggressive, that we're too loud, and our hair is crazy, but yet a majority of black women, besides we're talking about, this is excluding black women that are natural, they look very European. I mean, the weave is getting faker, their faces, I mean, noses like the one that I have are becoming rarer and rarer to see. So those are the misconceptions about black women. So let's look at Asian men, and this is from my perspective because I have deviled in my love for Asian men. And first off, there's the small penis attribute, and that to me is the most absurd thing ever. That is not true that all Asian men have small penises, and I'm not going to be like, oh, I've had my share of Asian penises. No, but that's not true at all. Actually, there's an Asian porn star who he has an enormous junk in the trunk, if you know what I mean. So that completely debunks the myth. That is not true at all. The second thing, of course, is that Asian men only like Asian women and white women, and unfortunately there are too many movies out there that have a Asian man going for a white woman, or an Asian man being with an Asian woman, and that's not the case at all. There are Asian men who exclusively are attracted, and they marry or they date black women of all different shades. And the reason why I'm focusing on black women and Asian men is because there's this whole like phenomenon called AMBW, which stands for Asian men and black women. And I see it here on YouTube, but still there's a lot of fetishization of AMBW. Okay, now there are some people on YouTube that do the AMBW thing and it's not fetishized, so this is not applying to them at all. But I think the reason why there are still some black women who will not go for Asian men is because of these stereotypes. It's, if you look at the media, what movie can you think of has a black woman, or an African woman for that matter, with an Asian man? Asian man. So these are the couple that I found. Well, not even a couple. There were two main ones that I found. There was Romeo Must Die, and that came out in the early 2000s. But there was also a movie called Acura's Hip Hop Shop. Now, listen to the titles of those movies again. Romeo Must Die, Acura's Hip Hop Shop. Now, Romeo Must Die is pretty much the story of Romeo and Juliet, and oh, I miss Aaliyah. She was so talented. She was in that movie as well as Jet Li. There was supposed to be a sex scene in that movie, but because audiences were so offended by the AMBW concept, it got removed from the film before it actually went to theaters. I was surprised it even went to theaters, considering AMBW is such a taboo thing. And then the second film, Acura's Hip Hop Shop, is focusing around a man named Akira, and he is from Japan. Here's the funny thing: the actor who plays Akira is not even from Japan. He's Korean. So that creates a whole nother stereotype about how all Asian people look like and how all Asian men are short and they all look alike. That's not the case. There are huge physical feature differences from someone, an Asian man from India, and yes, Indian people are Asian too. People forget that. An Indian man is going to have different features from a Japanese man, who's going to have different features from a Korean man, who's also going to have different features from a Chinese man. So I think sometimes people forget that as well, that there are different physical features. My nose, because I am half Liberian, half Ghanaian, so my nose is going to be completely different than maybe someone who is 100% only exclusively Ghanaian or 100% Liberian, and there are different tribes and all those type of things, just like in Asian culture. And you can apply this to anything, but for the topic at hand, come on, people, like seriously. And then those two films were revolved around black culture, which also brings up that stereotype. There's a stereotype actually that African Americans and Korean Americans, there's a lot of tension, and that was due to the LA race riots. But that's not the case at all. A lot of Korean people I'm noticing in their music videos, like for example, Boa had a video called Only One, and she had like two black guys in that video. One was actually, I believe, Malaysian, and the other one, or mixed, or intercultural, or whatever term you want to use, and then the other guy was actually like African American. And then Jay Park did this song, Ooh, which I love, called Know Your Name, and he had a black, like a woman of color in the video. So that completely, sometimes, yeah, we blame media, but sometimes media debunks the things that society always tends to put heavy judgment on too. So what do you think about black women cannot go out with Asian men? Because in my case, I love Asian men. I think they're wonderful. I would go out with one. I would marry one, actually. I think when it comes to African culture and Asian culture, there are very similar family dynamics and even similar differences in food, or pretty much, yeah, pretty similar to almost same ingredients in food. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. You can see that it's reflected here on YouTube and other mediums as well. You know what I would really love to see someday, actually, is a AMBW couples calendar. I think that would be great. I would love to start an AMBW national conference. And I've been to Asian conferences too, and that's another topic too, about how sometimes Asian people can be kind of ratchet towards black people that support Asian culture because they think that they are fetishists, or they have what's called Asiophilia. And Asiophilia is someone who has a weird obsession with Asian people and Asian culture. So let me know what you guys think. Tell me if you really like SINtalk, and pose questions, and let this be an open platform. Alright guys, so thank you so much for watching, and remember to get smart and stay informed.